So now we're going to bedroom. That's the first thing we have a look at. First place we try and make the cure to balance the outside is in the bedroom. So there's a plan view and there's the doorway. So the doorway is critical because we want to position the bed where we can see the doorway. This is what's known as the command position. Okay, so you can have the bed on this wall because you can see the wall. You can see the door. You could also have it down on this wall here because again you can see the door.
Unless you have a window behind you.
With a window, when you
Will
pull
you
the
position
curtains
it-
or the blind, it becomes a wall.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, but will you position the head of a bedroom against the windows?
Wherever. We'd like to have a plain wall, but that's not always possible. Okay, but you can position them in front of the windows, perhaps not a four poster because it's always going to block the view. But yeah, a normal bed you could put. And also we put radiators in front of windows. So you wouldn't want to have a bed against a radiator. So that is an issue. So the
However,
command.
but you say if we have, because if we have to, as long as we need to have curtains in any case. So then when they
all blinds.
close, I mean, they basically resemble a window. Okay.
Exactly.
But all the blinds. Okay. Well. Okay.
Yeah, you
All
need
the
to
blinds,
block the window up with a blind, only temporarily overnight. Tortoise position is wherever you can see the door. You don't want to have it on the same wall as the door. This is known as arguments because basically everyone that comes in, particularly without knocking, so in a family, for instance, children might just walk into the room. So you can't see them because the door opening this way. So they're already in before you can see them. Yeah, you're in bed, for instance, people walking in, that's insecurity. And what tends to happen there is you have a lot of arguments with people inside the house. It's common. We tend to put the bed up against the same wall as the door. And this is known as arguments, family arguments. The only way to overcome that is if you can't move the bed, and very often they can't move the bed, is to get people to knock before they come in. This side here represents your security. When people just barge in, it undermines that. So that's why people feel insecure. Psychologically, they feel insecure. It causes a lot of angst, a lot of frustration with the other members of the family. So that's the way we overcome it. So even if you've got, the husband and wife living inside the same apartment, bed position against solid wall, tortoise, allowing view of door when lying down. We use the wardrobe for a dragon, okay, if possible. 50% of the time, maybe slightly less, it's not possible. Maybe it's fitted wardrobes. You can't move it. So what we use is a focal point. Okay, the tortoise is the whole wall from the floor to the ceiling. So what we want with the dragon is a third less. We want that to be 2/3 in height. So we put a focal point, which could be anything, a picture, painting, could be a TV, not that you put it on the side of the bed, but a focal point, which can be nice and subtle. It represents creativity. So what do you want to be creative in? What do they want to be creative in? Have that as a focal point. Okay. The easiest one is the wardrobe. That should be on the left, but obviously that shouldn't be floor to ceiling. If it is floor to ceiling, then what you want to do is make a focal point on the wardrobe. So maybe some kind of beading.
I have a question, Helen. If you don't have the wardrobe, like in my case, for example, but we're talking about a picture, definitely not a TV in the bedroom. But how big the picture should it be?
Well, it wants to be a focal point, so it wants to stand out.
Okay, it doesn't, but the focus point will also be like where I really position it, or where I really hang it on the wall. Meaning, like, it could be the center, or it could be a focal position so that I see very well when I'm in bed, but not necessarily being big. You know what I mean? So a focus point could be something very big, or I just found the right spot where when I'm in bed, I clearly see it.
So if you've got a big wall, you don't want to have a small picture, do you? It has to be in proportion, yeah? And you want to highlight the 60% mark, yeah? So the division between where the dragon ends, that's the part that needs to stand out. A small painting on a big wall is going to be lost. What you want is a Rothko, yeah? So something you're going to be drawn into. Multi-dimensional art is what you want. You're going to be incredibly creative with that. So I mean, you're interior designers and architects and business entrepreneurs. you'll know, has to be man enough to do what's needed of it. So make that distinction. The highlight is the end of it and the beginning of that space. So you can clearly see it 60%. So you can go from 60% to 30%. That's a good dimension, right? You've got a third of the wall is that focal point.
Indeed. Yeah, no, absolutely. It was more like I understand that, but because I have to be respect dimensions or the balance between the elements. So, for example, I know if my 60%, so I have, I don't know if you see me, you have the 60% and the 50. So here is my dragon 60%, and here is my 50, which is my tiger. So what I'm trying to say on this side, which is my 60%.
Yeah.
So the top. So if I have the picture, so the picture, can it go above this level, or shall it be whatever dimension the picture will be?
Absolutely.
It has to be
sure.
behind this point. Okay, sorry, not behind, sorry, underneath this point.
Okay. It has to cover that point. Yeah. So you could have something in the picture that stands out at that point. Yeah. So for instance, the laughing cavalier, taking something that came to mind. So you have a picture that could be higher, not as high as the ceiling, but it's called the laughing cavalier, and he's laughing. That's the focal point of the picture. That could be at that point.
Yeah, no, I got it. I was just like trying to understand if I should not exceed my 80% mark.
It's flexible.
You mean like in terms of really of height? It's flexible. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine
then
a
you
tree.
go for that. I will apply common sense.
Exactly. Always. Whatever we do, common sense rules. So we're looking at proportions. So when we come to bedroom furniture, the wardrobe is twice as high as a dressing table. Yeah. So guess what we use for a tiger? A dressing table.
Yeah.
So they're natural proportions. Yeah, but of course nowadays we have wardrobes that go all the way to the ceiling because we have top boxes. Indeed. But what you have is if you've got a top box, you've got a line running across it. Pick that line up, make that the focal point. Paint it.
Will you eventually paint it? Okay.
Yeah, or change the texture of it. So it's very subtle. You wouldn't even know it, but it stands out.
You could put a decorative element.
Exactly. Yeah, be creative when you're doing that. So the white tiger dressing table to the right of bed, good for females. It's not only good for females, it's good for security and consolidation of what you have. Protection going forwards. Pretty useful. And then at the front, we have a small cupboard, table or chair for prosperity. That represents the pearl. So the red bird is actually the space between the end of the bed and the wall. Yeah, so there isn't a red bird. It's space.
Oh, what if the red bird is really small and then I have the door instead of the table?
Do you? So what you want, if you've got your door right in front of your feet in the bed, right in front of the door, that's known as the coffin position.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is screen your feet from the door. Okay. The easiest way to do that is with a footboard. Okay. So if your bed has a headboard and a footboard, doesn't matter, you're covered. So that's how we deal with that. There's our pearl, something that I think a red bird could perch on.